I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and with me is former and reigning, I believe, national champion of Finland and former Mind Sports Olympiad silver medalist and one of the highest rated players on Board Game Arena, Otto Ikonen, also known with his screen name Nalaheim. Hi, Otto.
Hello, thank you for the introduction. As of right now, we like all of those titles do not exactly hold. They have a hint of truth, but someone might argue that not all of them are correct as of right now. But it won't bring any shade on to the match today, as more CCL action and more great CCL action with great players is waiting, and we are excited.
Exactly, and this is also the reason why I brought Otto today, because we're expected to have two high-level matchups focusing on two masters. The games have started probably a minute ago, but let's just go through the tournament situation real quick. So first of all, Group E match between Pyro and migcrack, the players who are occupying the 5th and the 6th, so the bottom two boxes of the group, but they still have like a little bit of chance of qualifying, but in order to do so they would need to start winning games right now. So now it's really do or die for both players, especially for Pyro, and the initially first seed of the group is currently struggling without points, so if they want still to hang on to this tournament, the time is absolutely now, and that's why both players are already going at it. In about an hour, we're going to shift to a different C group match with a similar tournament situation. Remeister 3-5 of Colombia would really need to try and deliver an upset against the 2023 world champion Matt Tucker, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So what do we have? The Spanish player with green name migcrack with the red meeples, Japanese player Pyro with his traditional green meeples, something that Otto might empathize with. The camouflage color that luckily is illegal at the World Championship, but we're gonna talk about this later. So migcrack gets one of his red meeples blocked by Pyro, who invests a city cap into this endeavor, and something that looks that's worth doing. Also, Pyro gets his meeple a little bit vulnerable, but not blocked, with all 3 dagger tiles, actually 2 dagger tiles still available. Equality on the scoreboard, migcrack with an 8-point monastery, but Pyro with a long, almost 8-point road going through it, a 5-point road waiting to happen that's already covered up on one side, and a tiny lonely city cap, which is super vulnerable at the top, but it is surviving. migcrack now with another monastery and a slight advantage in this position. So we have rough equality on the scoreboard, meeple advantage for migcrack, at least temporarily, despite getting blocked. Otto, what would be here the long-term plans for both sides?
Well, I think for Pyro, he's short-term and long-term plan is to try and hold on to the meeple majority, which is possible because he was able to block the 1-point city of migcrack, and that'll certainly be helping out with the field, which is now worth 6 points at the moment, and it is going to grow, or it should be growing, because there are still like some room, like some green squares on the left, even though they are next to the monastery of migcrack, but that is pretty much the only green square which can provide Pyro the space that he will need for the field to grow. So that'll be, I reckon, his one of the highest priorities for him, because he will have to try and fight these monasteries against the field, which is going to be the usual imbalance. As for migcrack, though, Well, he has taken a hold of this city on the right side, on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, though, it is seemingly not ever going to be completed, but it is worth 9 points. Like generally, 9 points for a meeple is like a good investment, but with 30 tiles left in the game still, and with one of his meeples being blocked at only 1 point, Pyro threatening to take over a massive city, I would say that the chances of migcrack are actually kind of dwindling away because of the meeple minority. I would say a huge meeple minority actually at this point. So if I were to be migcrack, I would be like praising to God every road tile that I now get, because he will need to close down the field, and he will also need to block off the city of Pyro.
Yeah, well, he's trying to do this right now with this cow tile over here. So Pyro, of course, is threatening a complete city takeover with 2-1, and there's still three rather big tiles remaining. There were 4 at the time of the move, 3 big tiles remaining, and now Pyro is making a decision whether to defend the city directly or indirectly, to which we're going to address a little bit later. Yeah, so this was, of course, super dangerous, eventually blocked. But about the field, though, so about the closing down the field, probably a sequence that you're talking about is just a straight line over here, which would already shut it down severely, and then maybe a straight line over here and actually equalizing this road and sort of building a long, long road around all these monasteries. Moreover, if you're lucky enough, let's say if you are to get meeple back somewhere, no, you actually can't get a meeple back somewhere. No, yeah, maybe, okay, actually, you know what, you go over here with a straight line, then you get a curve, and you connect to the road. And then you get a meeple back. Then you get another straight line. You go over here. Then you take another curve. You take over the road for like 15 points. You finish 2 monasteries and you block off the field. So this would be the dream of all our Spanish fans. But it is not going to happen exactly like this, as migcrack simply adds a couple of points to Green's road for the sake of getting a monastery meeple back, which makes sense. Now, Pyro could actually save that road a little bit and maybe go over here, giving himself some more green squares, not allowing a road takeover, or he also go for this indirect move at the top. I know something that Otto has done a lot in his own Carcassonne games, so it's sort of saving that square and making it harder to invade that road, because if you were to go over here, then of course, this square would be vulnerable. So, Otto, do you prefer your usual move here, or is there another idea for the Japanese player?
I reckon I actually might just leave that road alone as it is, or then just go with an indirect continuation of the road. But something that what I would like also is actually just going at the bottom and trying to expand that field downwards, create some green squares, and like really try to capitalize on the potential expansion of the field, because you really don't want to expand the field on the left, because you are forced, or you would be forced to add points to migcrack.
Well, yeah, Pyro is still indirectly continuing his road, although now it's technically possible to invade. Also, great move from Pyro. Look at this. He's starting a new city, but he's also trying to protect this square over here. He's also pre-building a city in his field, which he will now undoubtedly claim for 6 points. Now the fields can develop further and even get that city cap in, and this probably will force migcrack to fight for it. In the meantime, migcrack with the road monastery, a fantastic tile, decides to simply score 4 points for a road, but this drastically influences the board shape as the field is now completely wide open, and Pyro somehow successfully manages to complete the big city. And honestly, I was skeptical at first. I actually was going to address that I didn't like this in direct defense. I preferred a direct defense a little bit more. I thought that this move actually had a less than 50% chance of working out. But what do I know, as 20 points and an extra meeple is the advantage of the Japanese player. And now a question for us both, I guess, is how does the Spaniard plan a comeback from this?
Well, I mean, he is now 20 points behind on the scoreboard, 9 points on the city, 7 points on the monastery versus the 9-point road of Pyro. So that's like, let's say, roughly minus 15 for migcrack and a meeple disadvantage. So yeah, not gonna be easy. I mean, likely has to do some praying maybe here that Pyro just lets migcrack just finish the cities and drop a farmer.
Well, it doesn't happening, as Pyro even forgoes 4 points and drops a farmer himself. I wonder, is that a move that you expected, Otto?
I gotta say it is not. I think I would have been expecting just even attacking the city of migcrack, or like if you're gonna go for the 4-point city on the left, like just take 4 points for it. Like even if migcrack gets the first farmer, it's not such a huge deal, because at the time when I said that Pyro was like plus 15 in the lead, I didn't even take into account the field. So even if migcrack gets the first farmer in, Pyro still has a lot of time to get in more, and there are actually multiple potential platforms for both players to get the additional farmers in. So I probably wouldn't be even that rushy as Pyro. Maybe he could just easily take 4 points and even meeple the farm on his next move. Well, like meeple the farm slash do really anything about the city of migcrack if Pyro is worried about the field. But this is also a very safe way, to be honest. Like if Pyro wins the field, there is very little that migcrack can do in the first place.
Well, migcrack was actually trying in the meantime to have other routes of winning from this field, so certainly this 8-point monastery move was a significant threat, and if Pyro were not to draw blocking tiles, then migcrack could have gotten himself 9 points in a meeple back, but the last curve was drawn by the Japanese player, immediately stuck over here. And this meeple will be lost for 8 points, but then also these 2 tiles were some potential connection tiles for Pyro, so I can also see a scenario where maybe red gets a meeple back, drops a farmer somehow, and green does not connect to the field on the left, not because he gets blocked or something, but simply because we run out of tiles that are suitable for this square. So this certainly would be my last hope if I were to be the Spanish player. But now Pyro with a scoring tile gets himself 2 extra points and more padding on the scoreboard. migcrack with double city caps, of course, finishes a city, starts a new one, wants to go for the biggest threat in Carcassonne. Pyro, of course, will, without any thought, sacrifice a point. Of course, we don't take the 3 points at the top, we take the 2 points at the bottom, simply to not allow the Spaniard finishing the city, dropping a farmer, but he renews the same threat. And I presume that Pyro is going to still block him again, or maybe just connect the field. It really depends on what the remaining tiles are, and really plenty of ways to win this game. And whilst the Japanese player decides, just catching up on the chat a little bit, hi Andres, hi Wise Maze, hi Penguin, hi Ian. Oh, look at this, Pyro doesn't even care. He just takes a 4-point city. migcrack does complete his own city and drop a farmer, but he cannot, of course, invade, because all all curves and all road monasteries have already gone out. There's no even need to recount. Pyro even gets a 7-pointer, so he ends up having a super efficient 6-point farmer just for insurance, and he ends up not even having to penetrate. And 3-point farmer for the Spaniard, and a big score difference is what we're gonna see. Players are exchanging pleasantries in the chats. There's no sign of a potential break. So I guess we're just jumping in game 2. Yeah, this big city, of course, was certainly quite the turn-off event. And a 21-point field. Look, it looked like Pyro was pulling a Marian Kurkan at the start, just having himself an inbox field for 6 points, but then fields have the tendency to grow and connect, if that's one thing that I learned in Carcassonne. Alrighty, I'm gonna update the scoreboard, and let's see if the Spaniard manages to come back in game 2. A reminder to y'all that this is a best of 3, as all Champions League group stage matches are. By the way, also do make yourselves known in the chat. Are you rooting for Japan? Are you rooting for Spain? Or are you just rooting for high quality Carcassonne? The second game table has already been created. The game has started. And Pyro is the starting player. Already got himself 4 points from this city. migcrack is now building a long road, but it is attacked by the Japanese player, who also is being helped by migcrack. So what was this move about? I think Red was thinking that he was breaking Green City, but that's not really how you do it, not at this stage of the game. And Green says, okay, well, thank you for the 2 points. I'm going to cover up and build myself a 10-point city. Pyro with a road end tile, presumably going to either cover up his side of the road end, or maybe go over here at the bottom and try to connect through the road through 2 curves and be super aggressive, or maybe do neither, but go over here on the left, cover up the invasion square to his city, and then meeple the road end, trying to threaten another invasion like this. Instead, he simply covers up, makes sort of the most conservative out of the 3 possible moves. migcrack tries to attack a shared city from the top. He saw how effective these attacks through the triple city tiles were in the last game for his opponents, and he decides to try the same medicine. migcrack with a city tile does not even think about splitting the roads. Instead, he simply decides to bail out from a city, which I really don't like. There was a chance to just simply keep that threat a little bit more open and longer. Now he attacks the city on the left. Very dynamic game, very fast game. Pyro now has a chance to cover up one of his cities, which is what he's going to do, I presume. Or do you have any other ideas for the Japanese player, other than what he just did?
No, not really. Though I have to say that I was a bit surprised of the fact that you considered separating the roads with the barbed wire tile as migcrack, because like you're only protecting like 4 points, and your second end of the road is not that secured, so it might not be as juicy as it seems, like to the naked eye, like in my opinion.
Well, there was also this added value of getting more threats into that city, because now, let's say if you were to have 2 city caps around this configuration, then your opponents cannot easily escape with the cow tile. Like, regardless of where they turn it, they're facing one of your cities. So there was a bit of that. And I have also, like, after yesterday, I really normally don't like separating roads, at the start of the game, or separating road unless the difference in points is super long, or separating roads if, as you said, my road end isn't covered. But in yesterday's match of Leo da Vinci versus MTU in Group E, in the same group actually, this worked like a charm for the Portuguese player in that position. So there's certainly sometimes exceptions for this rule. I'm not sure if this was the case necessarily, but certainly something to always consider, even though my principle would also be normally not to do it. In the meantime, quick points for Pyro. 6 points ahead on the scoreboard. Overall, a decent position for the Japanese player. Slight advantage. Both players have open construction projects on the left for the same value of points, but migcrack with the first monastery of the game for 6 points. Nicely covered up. He can build up with a couple of curves, and he can also drop a farm move of tempo. This field at the top looks for sure juicy, as Pyro will likely take 4 points at the top, but he's thinking about it. I think he is considering going at the bottom, dropping a farmer himself, and trying to block migcrack City, given the fact that there's only one starting tile remaining in the deck, or simply playing the semi-chickeny move of just going over here on the left and trying to finish his city with another city cap. I see, Otto, from your facial expressions, this is not the move that you expected.
No, it isn't. Yeah. Although it was in my book of choices as well, but something that I really would have expected was to just take 4 points at the top, to be honest, because like this mini battle of potentially 6 points versus 2, which Pyro is now at, it's not like massive, because the field doesn't have that much like expansion potential, because the idea was, of course, that the city of migcrack would be blocked eventually.
But it didn't. But even then it didn't, yeah. So 6 points and a meeple bag go for the Spaniard. This, of course, is a nice 9-point farmer, but then doesn't seem to have been worth to just sacrifice those points. migcrack really took advantage from the empty city cap, starting his new construction project at the bottom. Interesting move from the Spaniard, trying to break Pyro City, so really going all in on preventing green from completing the city. So these moves with cows, especially with the shielded cow, they're very committal. So if your opponent is threatening a 10-point city, then what you do, you're trying to make sure that they have more tiles that they need to add in order to complete it, and then gives you more time to do stuff like this, maybe attack the city or block it. And so far it actually is looking very good for the Spaniard, and now he can look into splitting that road, by the way. Well, maybe not right now exactly. There's some other move that he can make. Maybe starting a new city over here. Maybe connecting the cities and dropping a farmer. Or maybe doing something like this. Although, well, the shielded tile. But the geometry of the field is pretty interesting. So what do you make of this move, Otto?
I like it. I like it. I definitely like it, because it doesn't really matter that it is a shielded tile in this scenario, because there's only really one singular tile which Pyro can like more or less like happily use to that square, and even that is somewhat iffy, because the only tile that I had in mind was the final remaining tube divider. Mm-hmm. But that or the extender will both, first of all, they will get a meeple back to the hand of migcrack and not give a meeple back to Pyro immediately, and they will both give a platform for migcrack to attack that city in case Pyro decides to go for it. So, and now this 6-point field that migcrack took, it does have growth potential of 2 or even 3 cities, and I wouldn't even be surprised if migcrack finishes the shared city on the middle right by himself and drops even another meeple on the field.
Yeah, so this could easily be like a 12-point field plus a 9-point field. There's a chance for those fields to not even connect, for there to be sort of barricades. It is now a bit harder to do because one of the 2 remaining Dorito tiles was drawn by Pyro to connect to his city over here. But so far, migcrack's move does appear to be working out for him, even though Pyro now has sort of successfully covered up this city. There is, as you said, only 1 splitter tile available, which, if he draws, of course, will serve some devastation to the Spaniard, but he doesn't have to draw it necessarily. And there are also some scenarios how migcrack could get himself an extender tile and prepare to use it to a block. So maybe he gets some sort of a... Let me think about this. What could he get? Well, maybe just a regular Dorito tile. Going over here and then tying this square towards this semi-blocked city cap. And then he could get an extender, add a couple of points to Pyro's ruin, but then make sure that these meeples are blocked towards this square ultimately, and then get his monastery back. And this is a great tile for migcrack. Of course, he finishes a 6-point city, which is not such a big deal, but the main value from that tile is that Pyro is not getting it. So there's now only 1 tile that fits into the square. Pyro gets it, but does he go for it? That's the question. As you said, it's not a dream tile necessarily. If he puts it over here, he gets the extra points. migcrack then gets a meeple back and has chances to attack the city, but he goes for it because this square is not that easy to block, but surely migcrack is going to try and do that. This is a very timely block and absolutely worth the investment of a shielded tile. We saw that Pyro had a city cap in hand in order to finish it. Now, the city is still technically finishable. There is still 1 tile that fits into this square, and then, of course, the Japanese player will need another city cap in order to do this. But let's say if migcrack, if Pyro does draw the tile, maybe he goes over here, takes the 4 points of the road, then this will still leave the chance for the Spaniard to get himself another triangle, to go over here, and to block the square completely towards this square. But red doesn't even waste any time. He decides to spend a couple of tiles to eliminate that option entirely. So the green player is going to have 2 of his meeples trapped for what looks like a 16-point city, which is decent, but then the meeple disadvantage is going to hurt in the long run. As we can see, the Spaniard is already attacking green's field from both sides below. Pyro is trying to block a little bit, but these farmers are already scoring enough in their own rights. A 6-point field for the Japanese player at the bottom. The roads have not yet connected.
Still, somehow.
Yes, I know.
There have been so many chances, but it's kind of difficult to believe that Pyro would have had multiple chances to get more than 6 points with a curve. Although, has he actually gotten all too many curves? Like the curves that he has gotten have all been like city tiles also, which he has used.
I mean, he got this one
for the cities, I believe.
Oh no, he didn't get this one. Yeah, that's true. I think this was the Spaniard's curve. Well, Pyro is now trying to build up his city. I'm sure that red is going to break it. No, instead he chooses to protect his field connection, which was a bit misguided. This field connection is only worth 3 points. So a 70-pointer for Pyro, and actually not a bad position for the Japanese player. Of course, the meeple advantage, that's kind of bad, but you know, there's not a lot of time to use that meeple advantage, and Pyro just keeps getting scoring tiles. He can take 4 points over here. He will be ahead on the scoreboard, and suddenly this 16-point ruin looks great as the most valuable feature on the board. migcrack gets himself a Fields connection, gets himself the 9-pointer over here, starts a 6-point road, also leaves a potentially 6-point road up for grabs for either play with one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0 remaining straight lines, and 0 remaining starting tiles, if I'm not mistaken. No, there's still one left. So somebody could take these points.
Ooh, Pyro can actually still go for the connection of the roads and try to actually get the shared city to himself. There's still at least one road Dorito and one triple city with a road.
Yeah, and also
But
this move actually simply scores a lot immediately.
Yeah.
And he leaves this open, so he leaves the same opportunity for migcrack. Will he go for it? No, just a measly curve for the Spaniard. He goes for the farming move. Pyro now has the tile, but does he go for it? Does he have to even? That's the question.
I mean, he could also just potentially just finish the city and drop a farmer. It's a 4-point move, and
it also gives back a meeple to migcrack though. Then he can like use this meeple to score a 3-point road upon connecting to the field, so that should net him negative points if I'm not mistaken. Oh, but then he would also get himself a meeple back, and then he would have a chance to use the meeple in both instances. Okay, so he just takes the ruin at the top. migcrack with an easy scoring move, probably 3 points over here, or 3 points by finishing his road and meepling the new city. Decides to go for the direct 3 points, which I'm not sure was the most precise course of action. Not that it really matters. A curve for Pyro means that probably the Spaniard will not be connecting to the field at the bottom. And will we see a short 2-0 match?
There is still a regular regular crossroad remaining, so Pyro probably does need to take his time still and think, does he need to use the, actually it doesn't really matter because he doesn't have any other good spot to use the tile to other than blocking, right?
Yeah, but there's also curve remaining, so there's no complete block available, only a 50-50 block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's also curve.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true.
Oh, but he has a better move. Yes. He has a insurance, right?
Yeah. Just
that's way better.
Meeple the road.
Yeah, and then migcrack is forced to, I guess, connect. It's still his high scoring move, except he can't meeple the road unless it's, of course, a crossroads. So, well, we'll see if he finds it even. And probably, actually, if migcrack gets a crossroad, then he has to recognize that connecting is not his best move. His best move is actually going over here at the top and meepling a 6-point field. Will he find it? Well, actually, it's the same, because the connection plus meepling the road is 6. And if he goes over here, it's also 6. Just don't forget the 1-point meeple. Yes, he did not forget. Yeah, so lovely insurance move from the Japanese player here. Not going for a 50-50, but going for a 100% chance of snatching away several road points from the Spanish player. Endgame precision. So this is how the Japanese players do it. I need to remind you all of the final of the 2021 World Team Carcassonne Online Championships, where Takafumi Mochizuki won the game against Vladimir Chendev exactly by meepling an insurance road like this that prolonged itself a lot upon Vladimir's invasion of the farm, and also denied Vladimir meepling this road himself. So exactly like this. And look at this. This insurance move appeared to have been the only winning path for Pyro. Had he done something else? Well, actually, no, not necessarily. He could have also gone over here for 6 points, and then... No, he could not have. Yeah, I think it was the only winning move for him. In any case, very nice find for the Japanese player. 4 points is the lead despite a bunch of blocked meeple. That's what quick points do for you. Commiserations to the Spaniard. But normally I am a bit sad when matches end too quickly. I always root for more equality and a decider, but no, it's actually a good thing because we get to focus on another match which started 6 minutes ago, between the 2023 world champion Matt Tucker and Meister 3-5 of Colombia. This is in Group C, also has some playoff implications which we are going to talk about a little bit later. And I am opening the game. A few tiles already played. Quite a brisk tempo for these players. Matt, with the yellow meeples, has a couple of open cities. Meister, with red meeples, has only one open city, which probably now going to get attacked. I doubt if Matt is going to even bother finishing his own city. Yeah, he looks like this 8-point threat is a bit too juicy. So he goes for the attack. Now the Colombian, with a blocking tile, decides whether to go for the top, for the right, or to the left. I would assume you want to prioritize the left, because this is the city that's actually threatening completion. But then you also put yourself in a potential losing mini battle with this road. Actually, not an obvious decision. What is your choice here, Otto?
Well, I still like to just really more or less destroy the nearly completed city, even if it might cost the security of our road. Because, I mean, Matt would still have to use like 1 or 2 tiles to like completely negate the potential expansion of our road anyway. So I don't see it being all that great for Matt either. Like, even if he decides to go the self-destructive way.
But he has not. Instead, I think he played the move which sort of should not be really a problem for Matt. Because just like one Dorito tile covers up the city very nicely and turns it into a real threat. Yeah, that's some... Like, I have changed my opinion about this quadruple city tile quite a lot. In the opening of the game, it is not as potent a blocking tile as it is in some other games. Because sometimes this, like, if you add this tile to your opponent, the city just turns into a threat of its own right later anyway. So very often, unless my opponent has a really nice open city that's about to finish for maybe 8 or more points, I just add it to my own city if I can. Of course, it depends on the position, but Matt surely must not have issues with getting blocked like this. Now also gets a fantastic cow tile with a variety of good uses, horse tile rather. So what do you go? Do you just take 2 points over here at the top, expand your city, put some pressure on Meister Square? Or do you do the move which I would have made, which was going over here and invading Red's road?
I definitely like the ruin move better here. Because even though this road is worth 6 points, it is a very juicy road, and this tile would more or less solve the issues with the road. I'm not all that into putting our city vulnerable to blocking, and it is pretty much the only city that where we can get a meeple back like instantly, like with a lucrative tile. Because like in this scenario, all city caps are lucrative, whereas triple cities and triangles, even though we can get a meeple back with a triangle, I mean, it's only 2 points, and 2 points might as well go to our ruin anyways. And if we are to use the triple city on our 2-point city and attack the road, then our potential 6-point road on potential 6-point city turns into it turns into a 4-point city, which is in a need of triangles in most cases, to be honest.
Well, and that's why Matt made the decision that he made. The decision has also had the added benefits of putting some pressure on Meister Square, who used this extender tile not to attack Matt's city, which I think he should have done, but instead just prolonging his own city, and this helped Matt to finally finish his 6-point city on the left, get himself ahead on the scoreboard. Meister, in the meantime, sacrificing some points, deciding not to go for the 5-point monastery here or here, instead going for the 3-point monastery for the sake of controlling Yellow's road, and also setting up a couple of additional monastery spots in the future. He's now blocking Matt's roads. Not a lot that the Brit can do about that. Not a lot that he can do at all, actually. Well, he uses a straight line to create some blocking threats against this road, and then miraculously the Colombian does not even get a defense tile. Now probably thinking between splitting off the cities on the right, or maybe just calmly finishing his city at the top and starting a new one, which would be his immediate most high scoring move. Maybe he's also thinking of just going over here and starting a 0-point farmer with a lot of potential and some road protection. What would be your preference here, Otto?
To be honest, I really like starting a field here because it has so many green squares, and splitting our 8-point city away from the 4-point city of Matt's is like great and all, but like if you think about it, it's only a 2-point move. Like it looks good on paper, but it really isn't that, feisty. And if you do that, you create a 6-point field, which very, very likely is going to start a huge field fight already, with the massive amount of green squares and a road monastery spot on the map, which I'm honestly not sure who it would benefit. Well, I probably would be still benefiting red, because just because of the ruin of Matt, and therefore Matt is likely to be the one who would have one less meeple to play with in the long run.
Well, and it does appear to be something that will be exploited immediately, because Meister is dropping a first farmer, albeit awkwardly, but it still counts. So I definitely like the idea here, although I take a lot of issue with the orientation of the city caps. Maybe that's the tactical mishap here from Meister. That way he simply allows his opponent more blocking tiles. Now 4 Doritos and 1 horse fit there, whereas if you were to simply turn the cap the other way, this road would have been much easier to save with only 3 daggers available as blocking tiles. But Matt now draws both road monasteries anyway. He starts his stacking approach, not going to get bothered with the field. And this is actually really, really not great for Meister, who has now an extremely strong move, but I doubt if he's going to find it, because it's really, really difficult to spot. And it was not one.
I don't really think that it was even that strong, because I assume what you mean is to limit the city cap to a dagger, no?
Yes, with the monastery meeple, and just go for it.
Yeah, but the thing is that then at the moment Meister still has the 2 barbed wire tiles, which he would really want to use there to get the 4 points for the city and get a city and get a road end, because if he now gets a dagger, then Matt can very, very easily just delete the road from the game with one simple curve.
Yeah, but now Matt can also delete the road from the game with any of the 5 blocking tiles, which are still... Actually, no, Matt has now 8 blocking tiles, because blocking towards the road monasteries also now works. So that's why the safety of this road has been compromised. So I'm generally extremely reluctant to allow my opponent tiles which can complete a block in one move. But I mean, the stacking approach certainly makes some sense. It just scores a lot. You have 3 squares, how you can develop this road, and that's nice and all. Now both players get themselves 2 meeples in hand. And Meister does have the field control, but I think that Matt's plan is probably to ignore the field. Like with these 2 monasteries and the city, which will take a long time to develop, he's really not in a position to a field fight unless he does get himself one of the blocking tiles here. And this could allow him to do what exactly? Oh yeah, to block the square. And then they would be equal on meeples pretty much, because this meeple will be blocked and so as this, even though the meeple on the right is not blocked. As you said, it's really long-term project, so it is basically blocked for all intents and purposes. And then both sides would have an equal number of meeples to fight for the field, presuming, of course, that Matt eventually recovers this road and scores a little bit. Meister building up his monastery and starting a new city, which he really should not be starting. Oh, this meeple, like, survives surprisingly rarely. Matt also blocks the road. So you see with the additional blocking tile of the dagger. So this meeple is now trapped for 6 points. And you know what, like if only the Colombian had thought about this move for longer, then you would have realized that there's just no reason to meeple this city, because your opponent is not going to take away this from you. It's being controlled by the monastery. He might get away with it, but I wonder if Matt has a good way of dealing it right now. Like, if you are the Brit, do you just go here and try and block it, maybe? Or do you go over here and try and invade it? Or do you just ignore it and do something else entirely, like maybe build stuff next to a monastery?
I might be even willing to just add 2 points to a monastery, restrict the city cap of Meister. Like, even though we would then need 2 of the same crossroads, I mean, there are still 4 of them in the deck, and I really would not want those. Wouldn't want to see those monasteries to be restricted to a dagger if I were to be Matt. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like he cares all that much, since all kinds of tiles are still in the deck.
Actually, I wouldn't mind a dagger, because that gives you better probabilities. Because, for example, with the 4 crossroads, and to draw 2 of them, it's like a 69% chance, something like this, 68, 69, and or 11 and 16. If you need to draw one of the 2 daggers, that's 75, and then to draw one of the 2 roads, that's like 95. So 79 times 1, it's very close to being the same, actually. It's like it's almost identical, maybe like within a couple of percentage points difference. So to draw either 2 out of a set of 4, or 1 out of a set of 2 and 1 out of a set of 4.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna trust into your maths. I'm not the type of guy who who gets involved with this and makes a fool out of myself.
No, it's all good. But like, it's just interesting because like very often this math is just something for fun, and then the move is really obvious. But this is one of those moments where those percentages do truly matter, because Meister might need to make a decision how to block these monasteries, and Matt might need to make a decision later how to defend these monasteries. None of this happens, and both players are exchanging quick points, scoring a little bit, and Matt is now surely tempted to fight for this field as there are more and more and more cities on it. But first, I presume an obstruction against red over here is in order, which is exactly what happens. And it is timely enough because red was going to finish himself an 8-point city and start a new one. Instead, he's going to get himself a 4-pointer, which is something that he also must be happy with.
As Matt, are you ever worried about the monasteries at the moment? Because given that there is this field gap below the monasteries, and both road monasteries are out, I do feel like there is a rather uncomfortable chance, let's say, for Matt, that these monasteries will eventually be will get blocked here.
I am worried for sure, especially now that I drew a dagger, this square becomes a bit more vulnerable. I'm also worried there's only one vanilla city cap remaining. Like, we're running short on these road tiles, but Matt really can't do much except to score, which he absolutely has to do. And then he hopes to get himself a curve, a monastery, and something else. But Meister, with a fantastic tile, is going to finish his city. He's going to drop another 9-point farmer. And he's going to put additional pressure on these monasteries. And actually, that sequence that you just described with a curve plus another curve, which would constitute a complete block, is entirely possible. But Matt draws his dream tile. Maybe he would have loved to start fighting for the field, but he can just go over here and cover up his monastery squares nicely, and probably, as he should, even meeple a 6-point monastery, because this guy gets completed very, very often. Yeah, I'm sure a meeple is going to come down there, a yellow meeple right in the center of the board. Very interesting, very tense position here. Probably going for an imbalance. This is the chance for the Colombian player to get a stronghold on the fields. I wonder if you like ever drop a third farmer here. I guess you don't, but it's 15 points.
I mean, not in this situation when Matt doesn't have like any meeples on the farm, and you know Meister has so many tiles to get that all those juicy cities on his field anyway. So let's not throw the game away.
Well, why not? It would be a content move. As I'm not sure if you saw yesterday's stream where like MTU against Leo da Vinci drops his last meeple on the farm like really, really early in the game, like with 30 tiles remaining or something like this. Well, you look at that. So yellow gets himself a meeple back, and now some resources to fight for the fields if he has to. Meister now, I think, needs to resist the temptation of scoring this 4-point road. It is, of course, nice to take out a scoring opportunity for your opponent, but that's not where the game lies. There are only 2 curves remaining, by the way, so there's a 25% chance that actually Matt gets his 3 monastery meeples completely trapped. And certainly there is just so many field platforms that I really want to start taking care of them. Maybe by going over here and expanding my farm. Maybe by going over here and expanding my farm. Or maybe just trying to get meeples ASAP and building up my monasteries. What would be your priority here for red, Otto?
I would just go for getting the meeples back from the monasteries. Like even putting this curve like 2 tiles upwards, that's really going for the liberation of the monasteries. Even though there are still like multiple triple cities available in the deck, and Matt could potentially get like a city cap with the road and attack the potentially shared city, I think I would be willing to take that risk, given that those monasteries are pretty much they are not the only source to get meeples back, but like they do tie up two meeples, and actually I would argue that Meister has now made it more difficult for himself to get those meeples back, given that there's only one monastery, only one vanilla, only two curves. So like there's very specific combinations that he now needs to get those monasteries ever back.
Exactly. I think we just witnessed a big mistake here. So Wisemay is saying in the chat that this curve is more of a self-block than helping, and this just shows you how difficult it is to build up monasteries, because it like looks safe, yay, it's like so green squares. But the thing with these sequences, let's say if Meister gets a curve, if he puts a curve over here, suddenly he has only a 50-50 chance of finishing it because there's only one curve remaining after this. If he gets a monastery and puts it over here, again, 50-50 chance of finishing it because there's only one vanilla city tile remaining. So, like, when you decide how to build, you should already think about the combos that you want to draw, and not necessarily just protecting one square. And I think the reason why he didn't do it, he wasn't so much afraid as from the city invasion as you said, because with the quadruple city tile remaining, maybe this is not that dangerous. He was just simply afraid of something like a horse going over here and limiting that square to a dagger. One thing that he didn't realize is that actually would have been great, because there's still 2 daggers in the game, and at this point, like, this is the best type of probability that you're gonna get. Whereas now, well, I guess the only viable pattern is something like Dorito plus Dorito, or maybe Dorito plus City Cap.
There are not even 2 filled Doritos.
Oh, they're not. Yeah.
There's one remaining, so that also requires the final vanilla.
Yeah, so it's actually really grim. So regardless of which tile you place over here as red, you're gonna have at most a 50-50 chance of drawing the next tile that fits there.
I have to say, as a matter of fact, there are no vanillas.
Oh.
There's 0 vanillas.
Wait, where's the
only way he gets those meeples back is if he gets both of the curves. That's the only way.
The only way.
Yeah.
I still struggle to find the 5th vanilla on the board, though.
There's.
There we go. Farmer. This one.
Yeah.
Actually, Matt could have blocked his monasteries completely. Matt could have gone over here, adding 2 points and just creating a monastery-shaped hole which is unfillable.
Yeah, but like, you know, why give it just 2 points when you can, like, put really anything on either side here and
insurance against the double curves. Insurance against the double curves. Because, like, I think as Matt, you have to look at your 3 monasteries and realize, like, if you get 2 curves, then you're doing great. No, if you get 1 curve, then you're doing great. So you need to try and find a way. How do you win this game if you get neither of the remaining curves? And if you get neither of the remaining curves, it means that Meister actually has a shot of finishing his monastery, and you want to take care of that a little bit earlier. And let's say if you do get a curve, then all is well, then the 2 points that you added to your opponents don't hurt you as much. Now, what Matt did was something similar. He created a blocking platform, so assuming that Meister does get 1 curve, then Matt can use this square to block the monastery completely. But with a bunch of road Dorito tiles, it is not guaranteed that he's going to draw himself a blocking tile when needed. And if Meister does get the curve plus curve sequence, then he could really do a lot in this game. For example, Matt would have no chance for fighting for this field, which he now currently still does. But now he's really thinking. He does not want to take the 4 points immediately. Maybe he's thinking of going for a farm invasion, which would be a bit extra if you ask me. Maybe he wants to take the 6-point farm at the top and then sort of create a flexible move, you know, like either I have a little farm for myself, but maybe if I have to, I try to sneak into the big one. Or maybe he wants to go over here and just YOLO everything on the completion of a big city. So, Otto, do you just go for the 4 points here, or do you do something more spectacular?
No, I think we are gonna hold on with the spectacular stuff. I think we just take the 4 points for now, because there are still 20 tiles remaining, I think we can still afford to take it easy and go for the sure points at the moment. Now it is going to be a bit iffy potentially if those curves are going to not surface anytime soon for either player. Then they really won't even be all that impactful for either player anymore, because the only reason that Matt needs those curves really is to get 3 instant meeples back and to actually get to do something with them. But if he gets the curve, let's say like when there are 10 tiles remaining or so, then he very likely doesn't even have enough turns to actually use those meeples anymore.
Well, the 6 points won't hurt either. But yeah, that's a great point. And even like Matt is definitely not suffering from a lack of meeples. He did for a while, and then Meister used that temporary meeple advantage to get himself a stronghold on the field. And actually, the more I look at this position, the more it seems that Matt is in a deep, deep hole. So this 6-point road kind of equalizes this 6/7 point ruin. Matt has an extra monastery for 8 points. But then he's only like a few points ahead because he's a little bit behind on the scoreboard. And then 21-point field, at the very least, for Meister. Like, what do you do about this? I don't think there's a fieldless win in this position unless you draw a curve like on your next move. Then you have 6 meeples, and then you can probably start like collecting 6-point field there, 6-point field there, like 4-point ruin there, 4-point ruin there, then maybe. But now, honestly, I don't have any better suggestion than just for Matt to drop a farmer right now and then see what Meister does.
Yeah, I would say so, but the question is, where do you exactly drop it? Like, do you just take the 6-point field at the bottom, or you just attack the main field at this stage?
So a farmer was dropped. And I guess Meister can counter pretty easily, but it's also interesting how. So look at this. The most obvious field invasion spot is like on the right. But actually we're running surprisingly short on field plus field tiles. So I guess there's this one Dorito and there are the 3 curves. Okay, that's actually not that bad. But still, 2 curves, yeah, 2 curves. So 3 tiles in total. So it's not impossible, but it's not impossible to deny the connection whatsoever. Or you go over here for 6 points, just as a bit of an insurance, and then if you get blocked, then you have your own 6-point farmer as well. So in any case, Otto, do you just drop a farmer to keep a super majority on the field, or do you do something else if you are the Colombian?
I think I would just go for the 3rd farmer, like just to be sure, because it's way too easy for Matt to drop a 2nd farmer on the right, and then as Meister you just would be, kind of shivering in your boots to be just potentially waiting for the tiles for Matt to strike. And if Matt is able to successfully tie the field, then you'd really hate to be Meister in that situation. Like where do I drop a 3rd farmer? Because all of a sudden, almost if not every single potential attacking spot to the field are like super easily blockable.
And I have to agree, but Meister here, I think, with a strategic mistake. He goes over here, tries to restrict Matt's field connection options, but this is helping. This is not restricting. There's still 2 straight lines remaining. I just had to recount this like 5 times to be sure. So 75%, this is way too good a probability. Now this allows Matt to drop 1 more farmer. I know, while Otto saying, oh no, yeah, Meister takes 3 points, but this creates another fields connection platform. So Matt is going to drop his last meeple at some point and overrun the field. Like, this is what's going to happen. Oh dear. Although, unfortunately for the Brit, he actually does not have a tile to do that. And
honestly, I would have even been fine at this stage if Meister just drops a third farmer, like in the middle, on the 6-point field, and just hopes that he gets a road tile of some kind. But like, not this.
yeah, really, we can see the difference in experience here and skill level. So Matt was waiting for a long time, finding the best platforms. Ooh, he's now even trying to create the threat of completing a big city. Actually, I'm not sure about that. Well, no, that actually makes sense, because you know what Matt is doing? He's trying to keep this field connection platform open, because it might be so that based on the difference on the scoreboard, even if Matt successfully invades, he might actually not have enough to win, so he might even need to get a third farmer sometime or score a little bit. There's one interesting way to score. If we get a crossroad tile, we get to go over here and pre-build a long road which goes like this. And yeah, so
this is unfortunately another move which I heavily disagree with Maestro. I mean, there still would have been a chance for him to use the same field attacking platform that he himself created just on his previous turn, but he neglects it, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Matt goes for a third farmer right now.
Yep. And also the thing about, well, yeah, instead Matt actually still tries to complete his city, which also makes sense. Like, it is doable. It is doable. There's still a couple of big tiles. There's still some semblance of a city cap, I believe. Oh no, a miscount. No city cap that fits into the square. No dagger. And no Dorito. Yeah, there's just no way to finish the city. No splitter of any kind.
Ah, would you look at that.
But then, does Meister know it? Maybe he just keeps on with his blocking efforts. And know that now, by the way, as you said, Otto, so had he dropped a farmer over here, he would have already connected on the field. There's an abundance of road tiles in the deck. There's a crossroads. There are two straight lines. There was a starting tile. There was also this dagger. They were two curved. It's like more than half the deck are connection tiles. This would have been just game over. But I have a suspicion that the Colombian player simply does not seize this connection platform, because it wasn't the purpose of his move, it was just a side effect. So this 3-point road, what it did, it simply eliminated this connection platform over here, because there's nothing that fits into this square. But he might have not seen that it gives back a platform over here. Now Matt, with a bit of an issue here, he can't really connect to this field that easily, because if he does, then Meister can easily reinvade. So I wonder if, as Matt, you just ignore this farmer, and you go for another farmer over here, you try to equalize the field like this, then get the monastery meeples back without necessarily even scoring for the curve. And then maybe you even have a shot at blocking this invasion square from Meister, and then using the last straight line, which is still in the deck, to connect your farmer over here. But Matt goes for the straight connection, not something I would have done. Oh dear. Meister does not get a connection tile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are still 2 crossroads remaining. It is exceptionally hard to block this square.
And also, I think there are a bunch of curved tiles.
Yeah, so that's why I think this move by Matt is probably the first big, like, it's the first mistake from the Brits in this game. It has to be a plain mistake. Like, even if there's one more straight line remaining, like, you delay this sort of stuff.
As Meister, would you actually consider just pre-finishing the road on the bottom left and try to get a curved tile instead of a crossroad?
Well, I guess, yeah, Matt is going to try block anyway, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 crossroads available.
Mm-hmm.
2 crossroads available. That's not going to be enough. Meister now probably going to be afraid of Matt's city and block it.
Also, for all the curious people, Meister yet again fails to. Well, at this stage, I have to agree that I think Meister just fails to see the connection platform to the field, and with the horse, he would have been again able to block that.
Well, he sort of did that a little bit, because now if, let's say, Matt goes over here, Meister suddenly has an option to block that square entirely, so it sort of kind of does that. And maybe the Colombian is thinking that he still might have to use a connection platform himself. Note that there's also another connection platform at the bottom. Let's say, assuming that this red meeple makes his way into the field, then somebody, either yellow or red, can drop a farmer over here and connect like this. Statmatt is trying to block. Meister, of course, will be looking for some sort of protection move and leaving himself the 2 juicy crossroads that are still available. The predicament of Matt's position is the fact that he needs tiles both for connection and for blocking Meister's connection, and then probably for dropping a 3rd farmer of his own. But there's another issue, and the reason why I really dislike this move so much. It's not such a tragedy for yellow's winning chances if Meister simply invades, but if he invades and scores a 6-point road, well, then this is really bad. Moreover, if Matt were just to delay the straight line, there were some situations where Meister would have gone over here with a crossroads, just left it open. Alright, so it was that was the wrong defense?
Yeah, because now there are still 2 road Doritos in, and had he turned it the other direction, there would only be 1 cow for Matt to block, if I'm not mistaken. So Meister has just given Matt better chances to win this game. Probably.
I mean, they're still pretty grim. Because this, yeah.
At the moment, I'm actually not sure of the points situation.
Well, Meister gets himself the crossroads.
Neither do I need to be.
No, Matt can still invade.
He can, but with the connection, I would say that Meister's chances just increased tremendously.
Yeah, and no, Matt is lost. If he invades, it's not enough. Again, like this 6-point road, just scores way too much and puts Meister too far ahead on the scoreboard.
The remaining tiles are like 2 road Doritos and then the regular crossroad, no?
Yeah, so you can go over here and you can just hope that your opponent doesn't block.
Yeah, now that is grim.
Yeah, and Matt, of course, does it. He's gonna get blocked, or at least he should be. You never know.
Just hope that your opponent blunders, and like this is.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, hope that your opponent blunders. Yeah, that works.
Obviously it works, but I'm about to say that it's not the kind of situation that you should be finding yourself in more pleasant scenarios. Though, given that Meister is not playing like pitch perfectly, there is a chance that he fails to see also this connection opportunity.
No, I mean he sees the connection, but it's about the remaining tiles, and it's something that wasn't his strength in this game. Is like it's tile counting, because some imprecisions with building up a monastery and the defense of his squares certainly indicate that he's not fully aware of the remaining tile pool. No.
I think he could go for a full flex, like just drop a ninja farmer and let Matt connect.
Oh, yeah. We go a farmer over here. The counter attack. That's the way. That's the way to go. Yeah. I mean, it nets you like 3 points nets less, but that's a certainly nice way to win. So then this makes sure that even if Matt draws his crossroad tile as a connection, then we draw ourselves an invasion tile over here. And this would also show that he actually sees that invasion platform. Although he has the same option here, or so many moves that win you the game. Actually, I think that even if he lets Matt invade, he can just be absolutely right. Oh no! Oh
no! No! There is no... Wait. Did you say Matt still loses?
I think so, yes. Yeah, he has to lose. I mean, it's 15 points on the scoreboard. Like, how do you make up? It's 3-3 on the field.
Is just trolling. Like, surely he's just trolling. Like, this cannot be real life.
It can't. Like, I know what he did. He just miscounted the starting tiles. That's what happened. He thought there was a starting tile remaining. Or maybe, you know what he thought? Well, Matt, he's the world champion. Well, surely he would not drop a farmer if there were a 100% chance of it getting blocked. So therefore, and this sort of stuff. I don't know, maybe just like getting intimidated of his opponent's status. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a 27 points mistake. Actually, 28 points mistake from Meister. Ouch.
And additional 2 points on his last move. So
I counted that in, yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, what on his last move? What did he do on his last move? Oh, farmer, duh.
Yeah, 6-point farm.
Okay, so 30 points mistake will end up not hurting the Colombian player because the earliest stronghold on the field on the temporary majority is going to do the job for Meister 3-5, who, in a stunning upset, takes the lead in the match against the 2023 world champion Matt Tucker, who is now keen for the second game. Maybe just wants to forget this as soon as possible. Yeah, difficult position for Matt here. I think really only one big mistake with this invasion over here. Actually, you know what? Matt could have won. Had only he just ignored this connection. He could have gone over here, invaded over here, then used the curve to get himself the meeples back, and this would be enough to outscore the 6-point difference. So even with the tiles that were in the game, and even with the exact tiles that were in the game, the Brits could have won this. But it is surely tempting to want to use the straight line to connect your farmer here, but this was ultimately the move that gave back the 6-point road, by the way, which also happened to be the difference on the scoreboard, on the final scoreboard.
Yeah, tragic stuff. But I'm glad we are streamers and not the players in this case. No pressure for us, only entertainment.
Yeah, I know.
Are
like,
you not entertained?
I know. Also, like, let's forget that we like miscounted. Well, I mean, I at least miscounted the tiles like 5 times. Yeah, the second game has been created, so the Colombian is asking for a break, probably to come to terms with their positive emotions, just calm them down a little bit, maintain focus. Definitely does not want to get complacent here. This also, I wonder like how Matt feels right now, because it's sometimes frustrating because, let's say, if you see your opponent making mistakes, which Meister did make a few, like he was... I think the game for the Colombian was excellent strategically, like he knew when to drop farmers, and it was just not excellent tactically, because board vision things, didn't see field connection platforms, monastery building patterns, tile counting, all that stuff. But strategically, he really had the control of the game pretty much from start to finish. But from Matt's perspective, if you see these tactical mistakes, and then your opponent wins regardless, whilst you yourself make only one mistake, it has to be a bit more frustrating than just like losing in a normal way. Or do you ever have that feeling, or do you just, have you played so many games that you have no emotions attached to it whatsoever?
Oh, I have a wide range of emotions every day. It doesn't even matter if it's a competitive game or just a casual. Actually, one of the flaws of myself is certainly well, let's say it this way, that one of the characteristics of myself is the emotional stability, or let's say the lack of emotional stability, if I take a huge beating for let's say several reasons.
Oh, isn't that interesting? I guess I would not want to be Otto's keyboard.
I have to say that there have no keyboards have been harmed during this process, but there have been moments in which during which that would have been an option for my brain, not for my hand.
Yep, understandable. Well, so apparently they are the Carcassonne players who are even more fiery in our community. Recently, well, a couple of months ago, there was one important tournament game by an expert who, of course, shall remain unnamed, and he lost his important tournament match on a misclick. And then on the next day, he sends me a picture with his mouse in the trash can. Of course, blame the mouse. Anyway, well, Matt is definitely not like that. Is probably one of his strengths, not only due to Carcassonne experience, but competitive mind sports experience in general. He has immense ability to focus, stamina, and he has also lost plenty of games, so this is like not new necessarily. No big deal. And he has also won plenty of game, of course, and he's looking to do so in about a couple of minutes.
Yeah, like you know what they say. If you are not a Carcassonne pro if you have not lost thousands of games.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you claim you are, then you are lying.
Well, the 3 minutes turn into Colombian 3 minutes, which could be 5, could be 15, who knows? But both players are still online, but the table has not yet been created. Oh, maybe that's actually the time to look at the tournament situation a little bit. So how we're doing in Group C. Matt... Well, actually, if Matt wins, then he's going to secure himself a playoff spot, I believe. Yeah, he's going to secure himself a playoff spot, because obviously Koki Yamaguchi and Meister and HT Bry cannot catch him. Even though I think HT Bry has already won victory now. And as for Meister, if he defeats Matt, then actually everything is doable. He just needs to win his last week match and then hope that Matt loses, which is not that likely to occur, but mathematically possible. So if our fans like interesting tournament situations, then they should be rooting for Meister. If they like the United Kingdom or decided tournament situations, then they should be rooting for statmatt. It's a pretty obvious position there. Okay, finally the table has been created, the game has started, and now Matt will be the starting player, which certainly should help with his winning chances. He needs to win this one in order to hang in this match. Neither player has scored. Meister is developing his city, threatening to finish an 8-pointer, but Matt is likely to complete a road. He's just thinking about the orientation. That's also an interesting question. So do you turn this road upwards and deny your opponent the joy of potentially scoring 2 more points from this road end, which is what's going to happen now? Or do you turn it like Matt did, allow Meister to draw a tile like this, but at the very least limit some more potent tiles such as the splitters and extenders?
Well, I have to say that I have recently tried to take a stance in where I would be just getting the field side towards the city, purely for the sake of not potentially giving out 2 extra points, because I never meeple a 1-point road myself in that situation. I know that's something that is that can be disagreed on, but yeah, I would say that the potential 2 points is, well, especially at the start of the game, is even a bit too much to be giving out. Like, I rather just see my opponent getting like an extender or a tube divider, and then they get some points on the city, or they finish the city, so be it. But then we do have a ready platform to attack the new city or the current city anyway on our very next turn.
Yep, and I'm now trying to draw on the board all the stuff that you said. The decision of Matt has been made, and it is a bit of a... So it is, I think, it's the move that gives you... Well, actually, I'm not really sure, because there's also some additional factors. For example, a couple of city plus road tiles had gone out, and this might have been a factor why Matt chose this here orientation. But yeah, it is a decision that really requires a lot of subtlety, and probably if we were to run a simulation, it would have to sim within 1 percentage point. So these 2 moves would have to sim within a couple of percentage points of each other. So it's really, really subtle. In the meantime, Meister finishes one of his roads. The other road is still open. Matt is still 2 points ahead on the scoreboard as a result of some quick points over here. Cities plus his medium-sized road. Meister initially leaves this shielded city tile often, but then on the next move he thinks better of it and decides, you know what, this actually looks pretty juicy. Why don't I go over here, try to get myself 3 Doritos and a 14-pointer? And Matt, with a city cap, needs to decide where to start a new city. Of course, we really don't want to be finishing the previous city. That would be a bit too shy and inefficient of a use of the tiles. I feel like this principle of 2 cities is something that most experts have already learned and started to apply with great effect. Matt chooses to restrict the road, which gives free reign for red to try and go for that 3 Dorito pattern, a straight line for the Brit. He cannot really obstruct that city. He could, of course, go over here and create himself some sort of attacking platform, but I doubt that he's going to do that. Knowing Matt, he has recently shifted to a much more aggressive scoring style in the opening, and so I expect him to go for this 5-point road despite the slight vulnerability of the square, for which now he's going to pay, but still worth it. I really like Matt's move here, and it also puts Meister in a bit of a bind, because he wants to get his meeple back and to put some pressure on Matt's square, and he does it, and I think that's a misjudgment. I think he actually needed to go here and abuse Matt's meeple first. So look at this.
There's also some added benefit of not allowing Matt to finish the road with a curve, because when he finishes the road with a curve, he's going to immediately drop a farmer. Whereas if he would be forced to finish the road with a crossroad, I would dare to say that he would be just taking 2 points instead, and not take the field for himself with tempo.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. So this field on the left, it's kind of looking to turn into a 9-pointer, so certainly a valuable tempo move. Now we can see that, well, actually Matt is now not going to take the field. He has to take the city cap probably, so he's going to take the field later. Meister chooses to meeple a 5-point monastery instead of a 6-point monastery. This is done with the purpose of eliminating a connection platform to the city. It does make this square slightly vulnerable, but then if he gets a couple of Dorito tiles soon enough, not only will he be getting himself a 14-point city, he will be also adding a point to his monastery and setting up some stacking opportunities for the future. Matt is
potentially
really...
also... Potentially he might have also been not too eager to see his monastery being blocked into a starting tile.
Oh, but that's misguided. Yeah, I actually think that the other monastery spot was better. I was just trying to I mean, I'm getting too soft, yeah. Because look at this. Had Meister gone over here, now with the road monastery, he would have had himself a nice stack. This city is now going to get attacked anyway by Matt, certainly a worthy investment of a shielded tile. But if you're a Colombian fan, you don't get to complain at all. These monasteries, even though disjointed, they score a combined of 11 points already, and at least one of them is going to be completed, returning a meeple to Meister's hand. There's also a 3-point road up for grabs. The downside of this monastery placement is that it expands the field. It's something that favors Matt a bit more than it favors Meister at this moment. Because, as you said, Otto, Matt will be the one who's going to be dropping a farmer here with tempo. And with this 3-point roads, the Colombian will sort of be building the field for his opponent. But then again, 3 points are 3 points are 3 points. Matt here having a bit of a... Yeah.
Also, it probably won't be all that bad, even if Matt takes a curve and maples the field, then Meister expands the field with another curve. Because when Matt finishes the city on the left, he might not be willing to drop a second farmer on the 9-point field. Maybe. I'm not saying that's something to be said for sure. But there is a possibility that he will just leave a platform for Meister to actually, equalize the field.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point. I also want to draw attention of my viewers as how far you can think in advance about this. So there are currently no farmers. The city is not completed, and I think Matt makes a mistake here. He's really, really stingy. Why does he not want to invade the city which he originally planned? So now, of course, the Colombian is going to cover up, leave this guy in a bit of a precarious position, and then prepare himself a 14-point city. Very interesting move here. Would you have done the same, Otto, or would you have done the same as me, which is connecting to the city at the bottom?
I am as surprised as you are. I was fully expecting Matt to follow the plan, or what I assume was the plan all along for him, to attack the city of Meister. But instead, I don't know, maybe he is really not looking forward to using a shielded tile to a future to a shared project in the future. Maybe he's waiting for a triple city or something, just trying to be extra careful of the points. But I do believe that it is a mistake.
Yeah, and it's certainly more of a psychological thing, because you look, oh, a shield is so pretty, I don't want to be using a shield. But then if you realize, wait a minute, if I use one shield, I'm equalizing my opponent's shields and 2 extra tiles. So of course it's a positive expected value move. And now Matt is trying to finish another city of his own. He's going to get restricted a little bit to a fantastic tile for Meister to score 3 points and make it a bit harder for Matt to finish his city. It gives Red a bit more time to try and block yellow or maybe invade.
I have to say I am again surprised by Matt's move. It doesn't really strike to me as a good priority. He's adding potentially 4 points to his city, but after seeing that Meister just drew a triangle and is now threatening to finish the 12 or 14 point city, I would say that the priority should be switching for Matt to either equalizing or blocking that city and the monastery at the same time.
But Matt really appears to ignore all the threats. Also, an interesting move by Meister, which is similar but a bit different to what I said. So he forgoes 3 points for the road. It simply already goes for the direct city invasion, which actually is much safer than I would have planned. So this makes sure that Matt cannot use a splitter tile here with a devastating effect. In the meantime, Meister tries to block Matt's road, which is long overdue. So still 3 crossroads available, but Matt will be waiting for a long time, I was going to say, but he draws a crossroads immediately, gets himself 2 extra points. But this move by the Brit, I have to disagree profoundly. Like, why start a city away from the action when you can just go over here and threaten the invasion of a city with a triple city? Or maybe you can go over here with the city cap and try to play against this square.
Yeah, definitely a interesting choice. And it also does, like sort of indirectly grow what is about to be the main field, yet Matt still does prioritize the 2 points from the crossroad over being on the field first. So it doesn't really look like Matt is troubled at all with the size of the field.
Okay, now at least we have some action, right? So Matt uses one of his many meeples, try to invade this city. And actually, this is more annoying than it initially seems. There are so many cows and horses and extenders available, so that unless Meister is careful and cautious in his prophylaxis, some 24 points could occur quite easily in this area for yellow, which would compensate the 2 monasteries and the city waiting to happen. But regardless, because there's still a couple of tiles that need to be filled, it gives Meister a bit more time to try and do something about the situation. So overall, a great position for red, who also, by the way, has another monastery move being prepared. Now just scores quick points. Also wanted to say this move, I think tactically an excellent find from the Colombian player. Not only does it prepare the monastery move over here, but also, had Matt not gone over here, this would have prepared something like a road Dorito or a horse, completely blocking the square and getting this meeple free reign for expansion up to maybe 10 points and thus a slight winning mini battle. This is not going to occur because as Matt is trying to invade, he's also not trying to block a red city, which could mean a huge swing in the game because red does not get a defense tile. The best that he can do is just score. No, just score. No, please. Don't help your opponents. You're doing so well. Matt now successfully blocks 2 meeples of Meister and the position is now completely shifted. It's really good for yellow, but why not just take 2 points? He's trying to build a road through Mad City, but it is so much better to block Mad City instead of doing this stuff. So he just spends a meeple which is super valuable to him, given that from his perspective, he was about to lose 2 meeples anyway, because he didn't draw a defense tile. So these guys are super precious, and he just treats them as some sort of dispensable servants.
Actually, I do have to ask about the curve of Matt, because he decided to make a platform to block the 2 meeples of Meister with the risk of increasing the blocking threat to his own 1-point city, just because he didn't want to add 1 point to Meister, or do you think that that the fact that if Meister gets a tile with no field site on it on anywhere, he can't do a defense or an indirect defense. Is that worthy of increasing the self block?
I think that Matt's idea might have been simply dagger asymmetry. Because of these two right-handed daggers already gone out, this does not give Maestro an opportunity to defend like this towards a triple city. And if you were to do the other way, there would have been one more tile for defense, because there's still two of these guys remaining. So I think this must have been it, and he decided that extra tile is worth the 1 point. And also strategically, like, if you get blocked, it's really not a big deal because your opponent loses 2 meeples. But now Matt even gets to have his cake and eat it too. So a bit of a mistake here from Maestro, who could have, of course, just taken 2 points and then used the curve for a normal blocking move. Then, yeah, the Brits somehow survived this. And it looks like we're having ourselves a very, very long stream, as everything is now headed... Well, I don't want to say everything. I mean, Maestro's still ahead, right? He has this lovely monastery. These blocked meeples are also going to score, but definitely yellow with some good long-term potential in this position. A splitter for the Colombian.
Meister probably... the best bet that Meister probably now has is to hope that he gets a horse and sort of kind of makes this... extremely vulnerable situation with the cities like tolerable, let's say. So that Matt will be stuck with a 5-point city, and Maestro will through that get some sort of compensation for his 2 blocked meeples.
Still a couple of tiles that could make that happen. Instead, Maestro tries to not wait for the horse tiles, but take a more direct approach, start a new city, and create some sort of attacking or blocking platform against this city. If Matt were to draw something as simple as a city cap, he would have ways of covering that square up, but he does not. He has a straight line. Really, no good uses for it. Normally, I would say start a new road, but with all 8 crossroads already gone this early in the game, that would be a horrible idea. So instead, he just basically discards this tile. Maestro, I think, with a bit of a miss? Well, I'm not sure, actually. He decides to simply take the 4 points, but I would have liked as Maestro to just go over here and then try and block this square by getting myself some sort of an extender, of which there's still 3 remaining. Instead, he wants to postpone the invasion, which now gives chance for Matt to nicely cover up by taking these 4 points and then giving himself many combos, either extender and extender, or maybe cow plus cow tile to overrun the city completely, and this is exactly what happens. Also, 4 points on the scoreboard won't hurt.
Doesn't really look like there are too many great situations that will occur from this position for Meister now after he kind of missed his shot at making this situation like not insufferable, but like sufferable.
I get this. Tolerable. Tolerable is the word that you were looking for.
Yeah, something like that.
So, and it's not like it's happening anytime soon, because Matt immediately draws an extender and already brings in his least scoring meeple into the city. And now, regardless of which tile is drawn over here, it will benefit Matt. Either an extender will complete the invasion, or a splitter will leave him with a lovely 12-point city. So much so that probably as Matt, if I draw the splitter, I'm just putting it there and dropping a 9-point farmer and then trying to run away with this game. But Meister's last chance is this square over here. It is possible to still invade or block. Not obvious which of the two do you do. If you do invade, the chances of invasion are actually very slim because this is the last row Dorito in the deck, and there are only 2 horse tiles available, so he might want to opt for a block instead, given the fact that there are no barbed wire tiles and no starting tiles available.
Is it ever a possibility for Meister to go here, not meeple this, and then hope for him to get an extender and just give the points for this shared city to Matt?
Maybe. But I think Meister has a different idea. He really wants to invade there. And
like, just because he went for a meeple, he obviously does have a different idea.
Yes. But I think it's also like this meeple makes it a bit difficult for Matt to use the splitter, because from Matt's perspective, you have to be like overall happy about your position. If you get the splitter, yes, you can get the 12 points for the city and the 9-point farmer, and probably I would go for it anyway. But then you still have to worry about red invading and potentially finishing an even bigger city himself. So that's the moment of truth. What is going to be, Matt? Are we bailing out with a splitter and leaving the chance to lose an even bigger city? Or are we confident enough that we will be able to block, and confident enough he is? A 9-point farmer, a 12-point city on the scoreboard. So now Meister's pretty much only chance in this game is just to draw the invasion tile and finish a big city.
Yeah, especially because Matt is about to take another 9-point city on his very next turn, another 9-point field on his very next turn.
Which brings me to the question: do we make an impersonation of MTU yesterday and just spend our last meeple on this 9-point farm? And then we try and somehow liberate one of these 2 guys as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a really great option, from Meister's perspective, I would say. Because in order to liberate the road meeple, he will need to finish the city of Matt, because there are no more road Doritos. And to be honest, I don't see the monastery of Meister even getting back. I think it will be getting blocked before he will have a chance to find a curve. So...
do you think it's going to be blocked right now?
Yes, actually, I do, because Meister didn't take the 9-point field, so Matt has no reason to assume that Meister is going to take the field on his next turn either.
Yeah, and also a bit of a weak move from the Colombian. I mean, he just discards the tile, whereas there were some other options, maybe just going over here, dropping the city cap up in the open, trying to harass this city a little bit. Maybe he's just banking so hard in the city so much that almost nothing in this position matters. But if I'm the Colombian, part of me is actually rooting for Matt to complete the block, because what this is going to do, this is going to make this city a little bit safer. And then if I get myself the tile that fits here, then suddenly a Dorito plus Dorito pattern works for me. I know there's only 1 Dorito available, but there's also 1 splitter. So Dorito plus splitter pattern without my opponent having an easy invasion square over here. So that's the deal. And this also could make Matt reluctant to block. I also wonder if the Brit is thinking of going over here and trying to block this square entirely, but this could backfire really hard, as something as simple as a Dorito or a city cap could cover up this square and set up a future invasion quite nicely. Or instead, Matt could just wait and go for the field. Or maybe go over here and block this city cap, given the fact that one starting tile is still available, so red could score some easy 4 points in the future, I guess. So what is your choice, Otto? Like blocking the monastery or the field?
I would still be blocking the monastery. Because given that Meister is at the moment +3 without having connected the cities, and Matt has 2 more meeples, from which one of is going to be going on to that 9-point field, I think he can, for now, take the risk of like not making the immediate platform to block the connection. I think he can, for now, just wait and see what comes.
Well. So Matt does block the monastery. Meister gets the last starting tile to get himself 4 points, a bit closer on the scoreboard, and Matt gets himself another 9-point farmer. And a bit of an unfortunate tile for the Colombian here. He would love, of course, this tile just in a different order. Ideally, you want to draw the cow first, and then this tile, it's an important city building tile for this project. So I wonder, does he just go here anyway and hope to avoid getting blocked, given the fact that a very small number of city tiles has, well, not a very small, actually. There's a substantial number of city tiles remaining in the deck. But there's a lot of road tiles in the deck. Maybe you just go over here, you hope that your opponent has a straight line, and then you get a splitter, and then you nicely cover up, and then you get yourself the horse tile, and then you drop a 6-point farmer, and then you win.
It's very optimistic.
So he chooses not to do it, and wisely, because Matt, of course, would have succeeded with the block.
Yeah, I think after having gotten the city cap, or after having gotten the starting tile, and Meister moved into like a +7 lead, which turned into a -2 after Matt took the 9-point field, we now make the connection, and we do get 8-9 points from it, which already puts us at +6 for a -1 meeple. So we are not even in a bad position, really.
And also Matt can't block.
The massive threat of the city.
Well, it is a massive threat, although they're kind of running short on city caps. There is one particular pattern, you know which one? Maybe something like splitter, like dagger, splitter, triple city, something like this. There's still multiple tiles that are needed. Oh wait, there's another splitter. There's the vertical splitter too. There are actually multiple city completing patterns. And also, Meister can now try and go over here and unify those farms, potentially losing Matt 3 points. Or he could just go and create his own 6-point farm, which could still grow to 9 with a couple of city caps. Instead, he just takes 1 point for the monastery and opts for a waiting move. Matt gets a splitter, and this has to hurt the Colombian fans a lot. I presume he will want to invade the city, but I wouldn't be so sure, because imagine this. If he invades the city from the left side, there's still 1 dagger remaining in the deck. Meister can still get the dagger, reinvade, and then get the horse tile, and then win an even bigger city. And this is something that the Brit has to be worried about. There's also no way to block this city permanently at the moment. So I wonder if Matt simply chooses to ignore it and just go for a new 6-point field of his own.
Yeah, you'll be right, because there are also no Doritos remaining at all. So it's not even like Matt could safely attack from like the left side, because then there would be only 1 tile to connect.
Well, I guess the the purpose of attacking would be not so much for connecting yourself, but just denying your opponent the completion opportunity. But there's not even a way to do that.
Yeah, but is preventing the completion even enough, though? Like, is one meeple extra for Matt's enough?
So what is the score at the moment? Plus 5 for Meister, something like this? Plus 6, actually.
Okay, plus 6. Yes, I mean, it sounds about right.
I'm just relying on your previous scores. I did not counting myself. I was just relying on your previous counting, plus then using whichever moves were played on the board.
27, 19, 16, 14, 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so plus 5 was the lead of Meister before this move.
So now it's still plus 5. And there is no meeple difference. So actually now Matt actually has to connect to win. Meister can reconnect, of course, as we know, but he can also try and block that square somehow, maybe with a curve of which there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 remaining.
We could probably just like place this extender at the bottom without a meeple, no? Because Matt can't really use it. Like, there are only triple cities and the quad city only triple cities remaining, and I very much doubt that Matt is going to double down on attacking the cities, so I think it's a pretty safe move, actually.
And then also in the future it allows, although it actually does not allow us to reinvade. Well, maybe. Let's say if we go over here, and then if we get a curve and restrict the square, the only way how Matt can connect is with the last remaining cow tile, so we can turn it over here. But this then allows Meister... Actually, no, it doesn't, because we're running so short. Like, there's no way for him to occupy the splitter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he just meeples it. Well, another approach is just to ignore it and go at the top and simply meeple a 6-point farm. Put yourself at like plus 10.
I don't ever see Meister meepling this extenders like straight up, because he is plus 5, and if he meeples that...
Plus
then,
7.
Yeah, and then Matt could take a 6-point field, and
No.
then it's like a kind of a 50-50 shot.
I know, but instead Meister just discards, and it's so painful. Like, I can understand that maybe you don't want to go for the thing at the bottom. I can understand that you maybe don't want to go for a 6-point field, but discarding a tile in such a tense position, it's just... Like, this move doesn't do anything. And, well, in order to win, you have to do something. Wait, Matt meeples a 4-point monastery? Instead of a 6-point field? Why are both opponents ignoring the 6-point field? What do I not understand about this?
I have no earthly idea. Because Matt can't even, like, really progress his monastery. Like, all the tiles that are remaining in the deck are very likely to have like better uses than just adding 1 point to the monastery.
And that's why Meister goes for the field now. So that's like a 4-point swing. Well, Matt can please this connection. But maybe the Colombian still has a chance? Actually, you know what? There's a long road up for grabs. I get 6, potentially 7.
1, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so like Matt is now plus 3.
Exactly, plus 3. And if Meister goes here, then Meister is plus 3. But there's no way to finish this road.
Yeah, and he can't get any meeples back.
He can score a little bit, and also technically he can, but this is not a meeple that he wants back, because there's this dagger over here would be really, really not in Meister's favor.
He will also have to win the coin flip of the dagger so that Matt doesn't score like massive field points.
But maybe red scores massive field points.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, red goes over here, scores the field points, and then connects to this. Well, not that he has to necessarily.
Well then, so is that ground to actually not go for the road here then?
Potentially. Although, with the road, what could you get? Yeah, you could get... Well, you could get 7 max. Yeah, sure. Matt is going to just keep scoring a little bit, but then actually, wait, do you even want to do that? So, okay, he goes over here, Matt is a +4. Then suddenly Meister gets the dagger and he can just score a little bit. Ah, yeah, but then Matt drops a farmer. So I believe this should be 100% win for Matt here. Curve for Meister. I guess he's just going to meeple the road. Like, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? By the way, note that Meister, you know what he could have done? He could have connected the 2 fields now.
Yeah, for extra +3.
So completely equalizing the game, basically.
And Matt is the starting player. How would you look at that? Well, we can speculate the situation. So let's assume that that the fields are now equalized or connected. So we'll take away 3 points from Matt, and we'll see if that brings any anything.
Well, now he meeples the road, so I guess just loses a points comparison to what he had last turn. Matt can just score. Yeah, he'll be fine.
It'll actually be quite painful if Meister gets the dagger now.
But what is Meister gonna... Oh, got it. Gotcha, yeah. Well, I mean, he's gonna score himself 1 point for the road. Meister also has only 9 seconds. I think this has to have contributed to his decision a little bit. Yeah, Matt with excellent time management in this game, actually. He's thinking around 40 seconds every turn. Never puts himself below 20 seconds or something. So he must be aware of the game situation just much better than his opponent is.
Unfortunately for Meister, there's also not a second city cap so that he would be even...
Meister missing a chance for a longer road. He can hope for the dagger and get himself an extra point. He continues the road directly. Oh wait, never mind. Oh no, yeah, the dagger is in Matt's hand. Anyway...
Yeah, that's 6 points for the fields.
Oh, right. Yeah, because Matt is the last player. Oh, that has to hurt so much. And we're going to have quite a substantial score difference in a game which actually was pretty close throughout and really, really tense and relied on the Brits getting the splitter and invading the city. So despite having 2 early meeples blocked, the Colombian with chances until the very end, maybe just lacking some grit towards the end of the game with a couple of moves where he was seemingly unsure what to do and in time trouble, whereas Matt had a plan and stuck with it and ended up with 2 12-point farmers. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, talk about efficiency.
And a 10-point difference. Just when only a few tiles ago the Colombian was ahead. Well, anyway, no need to panic if you're a Colombian fan. The game is tied. We're headed now into a decider, which is great news for all of our neutral fans. And this will be one of the longest streams of a single match that we've had in a while. So both players are arranging a break, perhaps? In the meantime, I really want to look at the timing spent. So, oh, look at this. It's not just Matt. In fact, the Colombian thought for 3 seconds longer than his British opponent. 1831 and 1834. Okay, 2 minutes are
Yeah,
requested by Matt in the meantime.
Just seems that Matt was a bit more, let's say, stable with how much time he took per turn.
Oh, that is true, yeah. And I assume that he used those extra seconds to just keep himself aware of the tile and point situation. Well, anyway, since we're having ourselves this extra 90 seconds, it's perfect hot beverage time. So, Otto, I will see you in like 90 seconds or something.
In the meanwhile, I might as well answer the comment by it's done a good while ago at the start of the stream. Commiserations to Otto for being a bit unlucky at the moment. Your day to win something really big surely will come. Now let's all take a moment and remember that even though some of the recent competitions have not really went my way, I have been in the competitive scene only for a few years, so a reminder that there are a lot of people who have been going at this for way over a decade. So there indeed is going to be always a long learning curve, and let's say a long improvement curve, a long improvement curve before, well, let's say for most of the players before they actually get like massive achievements, and especially multiple of those. So yeah, I'm not really worried about missing out on like the early years, because that happens to pretty much everybody. Because on the early years you are less experienced and you have a lot more to learn. So we can only be we can only really take the mindset of having our head held high and go towards new challenges with an open mind. Just 80% of Siegfried Moya levels. Yeah, I agree with you that this is nowhere near the level of the expert time takers. This is the mid tier.
I know, still a lot to learn for both of these guys. What's 18 minutes? It's rookie numbers. It's only 3 minutes more than the standard time control. Okay, the Colombian player is starting this game. They will have the statistical advantage and a lovely tile to begin with, a shielded tile, so not something that our British fans would like seeing. A curve for Matt goes for the standard city restriction move, meepling the road, and it pays off instantly as an extender is not going to be added to Red City. Instead, Red is going to...
This is a very interesting starting situation. So this is probably the worst tile for Meister, because any possible spot that you put this into like comes with danger. Like it really doesn't matter where you put it, it's really awkward.
It is awkward, but I love this move. You know I love this move. Oh my god, what a tight position. Now I think we're headed to one of those positions which like favor Matt immensely, though everything's blocked, everything's in a mini battle. Oh dear. Matt's also with another modesty. Oh, now we're playing. Okay, but this move...
That's really... Yeah, this is really interesting though, because yeah, Matt gets a restriction, but I think this is going to actually benefit Maestro in the long run, actually, because because of Matt's 2-point road and their monastery. So I really don't see this going all that great for Matt, to be honest.
Maybe, but it does not make it less fun, okay? Like, these sort of blocky things, it's like the best Carcassonne to watch. Well, maybe second best after like a huge field fight for 7 meeples, but I wanted to address this move early, as players are now making a bit more orthodox move, just meepling empty features, trying to build up a little bit. This move from Maestro was actually very interesting, because if Matt were to draw a city plus road tile, such as the umbrella, for example, then imagine if all these tiles are not here. I'm just talking about this here situation, right? So only these 4 the Colombian was banking on didn't come to fruition, as Matt just drew a normal road tile, and he is now getting the first scoreboard points in the form of 4 road points. So maybe this move from the Colombian was a little bit premature, but he starts a new road, hopes to get some scoreboard points as well. As you said, Otto, this 2-point road will be a huge problem for Matt in the long run. So I guess the best that he can do is maybe get something like a Dorito with a road tile here, then just develop his road for more and more points, go over here, block the square, and he's still going to be at a meeple disadvantage, because he's going to have 2 meeples blocked for just 1 blocked meeple of Maestro. But if that were to happen, then at the very least, these 2 meeples is going to score well. So really the critical point here is this other road den that he wants to take care of, and not something that he can do with this cow tile. Instead, he just develops his own city, which now will be promptly invaded or even blocked.
Yeah, I see a lot of stuff happening right after this move.
So, this is one of the best tiles that Maestro could have drawn. It's an amazing blocking tile, and how exactly do you hurt your opponent? Do you go and try to invade their city? Do you go here and try to block multiple meeples of Matt at once? Do you go here and play against Matt's monastery, or he goes for the...
Yeah. Oh!
Yeah! I know. Matt must have been super relieved seeing that meeple. Super relieved. Well, actually, maybe it's in sort of an insurance move, because it's trying to prevent the situation of Matt like very easily drawing the rodent tile, which of course would create a huge ruin with the majority for yellow. So maybe that's the idea. And maybe also like the plan of red is to create a big ruin anyway, to maybe go over here, over here, over here, over here, and to already invest a meeple in there, realizing that the ruin could be worth a lot of points even if it does not get completed. Matt, in the meantime, is trying to cover up from Maestro's another invasion, but he's also setting up a sneaky little splitter for this square, which I'm sure he's going to continue doing over here. So Maestro will need to draw a Dorito or a cow tile ASAP, but this also... Okay, Matt does not want to go there. Instead, he wants to take care of his monastery. Maestro will gladly pick off this empty city cap. Wait, the sound? What's with the sound? Oh, in case there's anything with the sound, please do let me know, but I didn't change any settings. I don't think I touched my mic. Statmatt with a city cap tile. A variety of options here, as Maestro, of course, occupies the empty city cap as predicted. Matt could go over here, protecting the square, still hoping for that splitter. It is, of course, not that likely to happen, but the impact of that tile would be huge. You could also go over here at the bottom, maybe trying to put some pressure on this square, given the fact that a couple of starting tiles have already been drawn. Or he could just go interesting. Very interesting.
No, he doesn't actually meeple the city cap, which I am having really big issues to understand why.
I honestly think he just forgot. I wonder if the cool and collected Brit is finally tilting.
But like, he has no reason to at the moment.
Oh yeah, right, because he won the previous match, the previous game, duh.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Oh, that's interesting. Well, Meister surely wants to pick off the empty city cap? Or maybe he wants to go here and block the square.
You know, Meister actually has to be kind of careful of the dividers still, because what Matt can do, like he can't separate the 12-point city anymore, but he can now separate his extender.
Right.
And just maybe block the square at the center anyways.
Well, but now the position is opening up as the Colombian gets the first dagger, decides to get his city back here. He figures that Matt's road is in a vulnerable position, so he is better off just scoring points and getting himself a meeple back. This city cap at the top was ultimately taken care of by Matt, so it ended up not matching, and now the Brit is trying to work hard against this here tile, but a fantastic tile from Meister.
Just do not blunder this. Do not go anywhere else.
I know. He can easily bail out of that situation and get himself a meeple back.
Okay, good.
And, well, that's a great position, actually, for the Colombian. Matt with the Dorito tile, thinking between a connection over here, or maybe just going over here, pre-finishing the monastery with a road. Because the issue with the connection, you do open up your some opportunities for your opponent to reinvade, but given the fact that you're a bit behind, maybe that's what you want. He decides to be patient and wants to get himself a monastery meeple back first to consolidate. Still actually solid chances for Matt to get a meeple back here from this road. So that would be some nice work if Yellow manages to complete that one. And the Colombian is trying to prevent it by putting pressure on this square unsuccessfully, as Matt surely is going to finish his monastery and prolong his road. But as usual, he wants to weigh his options. He's thinking whether it's worth to drop a 6-point farmer, and he quickly decides against it. Meister with a straight line. Looking potentially for a new road. Still a sufficient number of road ends to justify that move. But...
Yeah, but a 2-point road with when you have 2 meeples, it doesn't sound that great, to be honest. Or at least that's not something that I would ever really do.
I'm doing it. Oh, this is better, but this is better. Yeah, so you were mentioning about the opportunities of Matt to separate with a splitter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to prevent that from happening. Matt, of course, will be super happy to meeple a 7-point monastery instead, which he absolutely should. He could contemplate this 5-point monastery spot, but it's actually more dangerous than the 7-pointer. There's, of course, the crazy idea of meepling this 4-point spot and then trying to later draw this dagger. Not something that you need to be doing unless you are in great despair, which the Brit with 2 points extra on the scoreboard should not do it. And I really... I'm not a fan of this 5-point monastery spot.
Yeah, and you are not alone with that.
There are plenty issues with it. Well, first of all, it's 2 points less. Second, okay, the road is fine, of course, but then it creates a field which not necessarily favors Matt, because Matt is still at a long-term meeple minority until his road is taken care of, you really don't want to be opening up the position so much. But a great tile for Matt is he can just go over here, potentially with a farmer. Okay, now you actually... Oh wait, no, these are all different fields. Never mind. But maybe you still drop a farmer, because your opponent has 2 city caps in the field.
Yeah, I think like if he's gonna go and add 1 point to the monastery, which I think I'm almost sure he does, he would have to do that with a farmer just to prevent this exact stuff for Meister to not be able to triple farmer with a tempo. But he decides to do. I mean, this still makes sense, but I think I still would have freed up the other farmer and placed a meeple on the field at the same time.
But I like Maestro's move because you really, like, we're running short on these city plus row tiles, and there's really no guarantee that he will be able to save his other meeple. So at least this makes sure that he first saves the meeple which does not share squares with his opponent's features. And Matt finally gets himself a splitter, not a splitter. Why did I call it a splitter? A course tile. And gets himself a road meeple back. But chooses not to meeple the farm. Why?
Yeah, either one for that matter.
Either one, or probably I guess the one here, which is the more potent. But also, I don't think the Colombian player is super sad about this cow tile being drawn. He's actually in a very nice position on this ruin. There is no longer the threat of Matt drawing a splitter and getting away with 8 points, so all of these meeples here are wonderfully trapped. And by going over here, Red can cut off this meeple for just 5 points and then enjoy an advantage on the highest scoring ruin. Well, now Matt drops a farmer, which makes sense. It does leave open an empty city cap, which I doubt even will be taken. Yeah, Meister decided it's better to take care of this square. By the way, had he not done it, there would even be a chance for one of the sides to get a splitter and invade with a third meeple through the one remaining horse tile like this, and then with a couple of Doritos finish a city worth 36 points or something. So not something that you want to be risking when you're ahead on the scoreboard, and an important strategic gain here for Red. Yellow with a curve, deciding whether it's worth to meeple the second field, which I wouldn't, given the fact that he has already invested on one field. Probably I'm looking forward to... That's actually a nice move, limiting the potential of growth for this ruin with something like a quadruple city tile. Probably at some point I'm looking to actually try and block Meister's meeple, or at the very least pre-block it. Maybe if we go over here with something like a straight line, then we try to get a road Dorito that would free up our monastery without freeing up Meister's city. This, of course, would be the dream. But a monastery for the Colombian, and no good spots for it.
Would you actually just use this tile as a just meepling the 6-point field instead of taking a monastery?
As sacrilegious as this idea is, I kind of like it, but no, I'm not sure. I'm burning all my time here, just trying to figure out, first of all, what are my winning chances. Do I need to score more? If I want to win, he decided he doesn't want to score. A 4-point match, which actually I quite like. There's still a lot of road tiles to continue, a couple of road ends available. Yeah, that could work. Since Matt has already invested on the main field, Red is possibly looking to score a little bit before he can... Actually, you know what?
The thing that I don't like this monastery is that it can't really bring any like sort of extra value. My Meister can only use 1-point tiles to it in the future, but like if he meeples this at the top, then if he gets like city caps with field and there are no city caps and there are no like available city caps, for him to be taken, then like he can just drop a city cap next to his monastery and meeple the 6-point field, which will then have another free city cap to be taken, and then he can again further develop the field whilst developing the monastery at the same time. But at the bottom here, it really doesn't do anything.
Well, it does do something. You know what, like, the pattern that I see is this road, and a 7-point road around the monastery. Like, that's how you could complete it. And it could be intercepted with a couple of crossroads like this. There's still 3 crossroads in the deck, so maybe that would be the plan. And there are a lot of road tiles remaining. I actually kind of like it. And also note that Matt meeples monastery himself. So we're gonna see, like, it's a very principled decision. So is your monastery spot better or is mine? Matt's spot has the advantage that it has more points initially. The disadvantage that it has a bit of a sensitive square here, and he will be forced to share the city eventually, which might give Red a chance to re-attack and win that city outright. So a bit of a sensitive situation here, but if you can just manage to take care of this square, then this monastery is getting completed in no time. Also, it needs to be pointed out that a lot of city caps are still available in the deck, because we had this sort of clunky opening with, you know, a lot of big tiles, a lot of these blocky moves. This means that all the city caps are still in the deck, and then towards the end game we're going to have an explosion of points, and for that players need to keep meeples in hand in order to be able to meeple new 9-point fields and stuff like this. Matt decides to add a point to his monastery, which also makes it a bit harder for him to fill this square. And
yeah, but that's fine though, because he only really takes away 2 tiles from himself and leaves 4, or left 4 now, which now reduces to 3. And like, he's never going to be using a divider to that spot, so it's not that bad really. And now he has, now he has another good spot to use, like regular road tiles and a future monastery as well, if he likes to.
If he gets the chance to, because this is a really, really critical square here. A split serve drawn by Matt, so some quick points are in order. With the city cap facing down, I presume. Yeah, of course, the former world champion knows his tactics. 3 points extra on the scoreboard for the Brit, but a great tile for Meister, and I have no doubt that he's not going to score 2 points over here, which was his initial plan. Of course, he's going to make a strategically important block just in time. This is what always happens in competitive Carcassonne, of course. Just in time before you complete the invasion successfully, you get blocked.
Now the question, ask Matt, do you take actually the meeple back from the monastery?
Whoa! Yeah, I don't think you do, but you have to prepare it. Like, you need to first get something like a straight line here, and then you do this. But now as Matt, I actually think you do it. You finish your opponent's city, because you can't stay without meeples for too long.
Mm.
Like, you have to.
Also, this is... He doesn't have many other tiles to get meeples out of, does he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 1 triangle, and like the splitter for Matt to really get the meeple out from the city. Like, he has to go for it.
He has to go for it. It's a move which is not easy to pull a trigger on, because you hate to be finishing your opponent's cities. But what makes it psychologically easier is just the realization that for now it's a net 0-point move. You're adding your opponent's... Actually, no, it's even a plus... Wait. So he adding 3 points to his opponent, but he's also adding 3 points to his field and 1 point to his monastery. So it's actually a net +1 movement for Matt.
Also, it must hurt that he actually got the dagger that both players were waiting for a long time because there's the 6-point city on the field.
Yeah, so I wonder if he could have even just left the city empty, but, well, it is what it is. A decision needs to be made. And it needs to be made in a certain way. Like, it's something that just has to be done. And then, you know, the Brit can still hold on. Like, he was going to have a 12-point field. He's going to have the lead on the scoreboard. This ruin on the left, and even the ruin at the top has to really, really hurt. But with some smart geometry, by just building barricading around his field, by maybe getting one more splitter over here, for example, to score some more farming points, one meeple could be just enough to withstand the pressure from red. Matt is really thinking about this one, probably assessing his other options for meeple recovery. But there are no other options. There's simply no other options. I also start wondering, yeah, like, let's say if Matt gets a meeple back, then his meeple situation is actually not that bad. So he's going to be 1 against 2, but this is because Matt has already invested a farmer. So he is not like truly down a meeple. He has a blocked monastery, of course, but Red's monastery is also effectively blocked. It's very difficult to build it towards completion.
He's also plus 10, if I count correctly, like in terms of points, though he does have significantly worse like point scoring ability, should I say, because he doesn't have a ruin that he can progress, and he only has 1 meeple, so whenever he uses that, he's going to be likely sacrificing a lot of points elsewhere.
Well, he did get himself a monastery point. Meister took a 4-point road, cutting into Yellow's lead. And it seems to me that Yellow's potential is just simply getting city caps and expanding the field and then trying to withstand invasions. He could also try and bait his opponent into making a mistake. Maybe if Red drops a farmer prematurely. For example, if Red drops a farmer here, Yellow might go and try and block this invasion square. Red also now, with an interesting decision, also note that this curve over here, placed by Yellow earlier on, now completely pays off, as Red is not able to grow his ruin productively. Instead, he's probably going to need to settle for a 1-point move connecting the 2 cities, which is a move that has to favor Red over Yellow. You know, not allowing something like a splitter tile and multiple more farmers. Ooh, but instead...
That's risky.
Yeah, I'm also going to just call it a strategic mistake. Why would you? Why is that necessary? Yeah, that would be my question. Like, why is that necessary?
Yeah, I would definitely argue that just adding 1 point and then leaving 2 meeples in your hand with 1 that you can potentially use to simply attack the field would be much better option.
Also, Nomad gets one of the 3 tiles that could prevent the completion invasion. Yeah, so the thing about the long-term meeple majority, like, if you have a 2 versus 1 meeple majority, like, don't spend it. Hold on to it. Try and score some points. This actually might end up working for Yellow, because this essentially could act like another ruin. So he can still add points to this side, and he could still ultimately prevail. But now that sides have equalized in points, I believe that the Colombian is still a couple of points ahead. No, behind.
Yeah, he's definitely behind. Like, minus 10 after that, minus 6. Pretty sure he's actually dead equal at the moment, but oh my god, that is actually not a good move at all for Meister, because now he has 0 chances to actually complete this structure. There are no Doritos and only 1 triple city, and he just spent the final divider.
Yeah, he needed to really point this the other way, I guess. But he's still a couple of points ahead. A huge road monastery for 3 points. And this monastery at the bottom will actually be quite the scoring potential, but a huge sigh of relief for Matt, as he won't even be losing these points over here. He'll just be scoring 3 points at the top.
It's going to put him at dead equal, I believe. So whoever gets that available city cap on the right is going to be having a good feeling for quite a long time, actually, I would say.
Well, not only that, Meister has a potential to use road tiles and develop himself a monastery.
It is, but it's only 1 point. Like if Matt gets the city cap, then like Meister is gonna have to get like 4 road tiles to equalize that. That's a lot. Like say that like Matt gets 1 city cap and takes the 6-point field on the left. Like what does Meister do? Because there's not that many scoring opportunities, no?
Well, he chooses to set up a road. There's still a couple of crossroads remaining. I wonder if Matt should go crazy and try score the road, or maybe instead just do something more simple as going over here, eliminating some field attacking potential.
I mean, there's still like 4 city caps, so
yeah, it's really, really not great for the Brit knowing that your opponent is so likely to drop a city cap, and also you can't really meeple the 6-point field right now, or can you actually?
It's gonna put him at like
+5.
+5, and then he can't score for the city caps. No, I don't think he can afford that. I don't think he can afford that, because it only takes like Meister to get, well, really anything to be just only like at -1, and then he can surround his monastery or just lay down city caps somewhere to make another 6-point field for himself. Like he has a lot of options that like he doesn't have to do much to actually equalize the 6-point field. So Matt is just going to be really praying that Meister doesn't have a scoring tile. What is somewhat working for him may be that the 2 crossroads that are still left in the deck are barbed wires, so those kind of overlap with the remaining city caps. So only really 4 active scoring tiles in the deck.
So let's see, we have 2 barbed wires. And what kind of city caps do we have? No vanillas? Are there some daggers?
There's
1 dagger, right?
One tube divider.
1 tube divider. And 3 more tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 straight lines, something like this. And probably something like a curve. Alright, a scoring tile from Meister, but actually this is not the tile that he's hoping for, because it gives back a scoring tile. Now a hugely important draw. Will Matt be getting himself a scoring tile as well? And yes, he is going to. So 4 points for both.
Yeah, but now there are 2 6-point fields. So it's gonna be actually, because I think Meister is now +1. And Matt, I'm like, unless Matt gets a barbed wire, then he's going to take one of the 6-point fields. And if that happens, then if Meister just gets the other one, he wins, I believe.
Well, can the Colombian just go over here? Well, I wonder why like this. I thought he could have tried invading the big one.
That's also true, but I think this, like for Meister, I think going for the 6-point field is like comes too soon, because he could have still gotten the barbed wire on his next tile and only on his final move take a 6-point field.
But does he have to if he's ahead? And also, like, you do not necessarily, like, if your final tile is a barbed wire, then you can't take a 6-point field. Maybe that's something that he was concerned.
Okay, that is true. But, like, your 2 final tiles can't both be barbed wires, so... I like... Okay, so there's a barbed wire, then what was the final city cap that you mentioned?
Dagger.
Dagger, okay. But that works for both fields.
I guess so. Yeah, Matt just takes a 6-point field, does not find anything better, and an extra point for Meister. So look at this monastery below. Just a huge scoring machine. And Matt with just 1 tile short. I think he needed something like... I'm not even sure what he needed. He needed back-to-back city caps to try and score more for his field. I guess that's what he needed, but the best that yellow can do is just drop a city cap into nothingness.
Well, actually, yeah, now that I mentioned, yeah, the Meister not dropping the meeple on the other side of the 6-point field is actually a huge mistake, because for a second I thought that Matt could just place a farmer of his own, like on the bottom right, and just equalize that and connect everything. But then I realized just now that he doesn't actually have enough turns to do that.
Well, I was thinking the same. Maybe I presume that this farmer wants to stay away from here precisely because he's afraid of some sort of invasion of Matt overrunning a huge field.
Yeah, but then that just comes back to the point, like he shouldn't be, because when Matt only has 2 tiles left, that huge invasion would not be possible in any way.
Yeah, but it's also something that takes extreme calculation to be extra sure. Like from Meister's perspective, you don't necessarily need to win to equalize Matt's larger field in order to win. So he just went for a move which gave him what he wanted and pretty much it. Although I guess Matt would be winning with a barbed wire tile.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, look at this.
What?
Look at that.
So
it was a mistake afterwards. So he had to go for the field.
Well, that is unfortunate for the Colombian.
But you know what? I think he was toast anyway, because like if you go over here and fight for the field, then I guess on the first move Matt can block, and then on the last move he can farm, and then he still wins by a tie.
Yeah, you would be right.
So there was really not much that Meister could have done.
Actually, because like Meister could potentially like go on the left, then he has to rely on Matt getting the barbed wire, because there was still both the dagger and the straight road in the deck, so that would make sure that Matt, whatever he does with the barbed wire, he cannot get a 100% block.
Yeah, but it's something that's extremely difficult to calculate. And also when the game is this close, you're kind of assuming that maybe because you have, all these scoring machines, you have the ruin to which you can add, you have the monastery to which you can add, and this is something that Matt doesn't have. You're just assuming that you can eke it out by a couple of points, but the math just doesn't work out. And as you've noticed, we even weren't tracking points precisely in this situation, so it's reasonable to assume that the players weren't either. And Matt was. Matt probably knew that he was winning this via a tie. Anyway, fascinating endgame, as close as it can possibly get. Congratulations to statmatt, who guarantees himself a spot in the playoffs. Let me first of all update the scoreboard to reflect the fact that in 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I believe is a record for a single match, actually. I haven't had a stream this long. The longest I've had before for a single match was 2 hours. So maybe Siegfried or Moya will be looking to beat this record at some point, but not now. And Matt thinking for a solid 19 minutes, Meister for just 12, which is also above average. So this indicates that the players were really doing their best. So what does this mean? Meister sadly will not be able to qualify anymore, I think. Yeah, because their tiebreaker is too bad. Like, even if they win their round 5 and even if East Tung loses, this is probably... Well, who are they playing against? That's actually... Wait. No. If East Tung loses... And also, it needs to be pointed out that actually this table is not up to date because East Tung lost his 4th round. His tiebreaker is actually like this. Meister's tiebreaker is not that bad because he did take a game off Matt. Yeah, if Meister wins and East Tung loses, then the Colombian can still qualify, if I got it right. The only thing that is for sure is that Matt had guaranteed himself a chance to qualify. And even, let me see, does he have a shot at the first spot in the group? Let's say if he wins 2-0, that's 9-7. Oh wait, that's 9-5. And let's say if I were to lose 2-0, that's 8-6. Okay, so wait, not 8-6, that's 8-4. 8-4. Okay, so then if I lose 2-0, and if Matt wins 2-0, then he would be overtaking me in the first spot of the group. I will just do everything in my power to not let that happen. So this is the plan. But yeah, so still some things, the first spot still up for grabs in Group C technically, and still, despite the rather painful loss for the Colombian, the playoff is still within reach. And I wonder who his opponent is in the next round. So Meister played against yours truly, won against Koki Yamaguchi, lost against East Tung already, so this is not great for the tiebreaker. And who are they playing against? HT Brai, who currently is last, so they don't have necessarily the motivation. Wait, it's not actually true, because HT Brai won against Koki Yamaguchi, if I'm not mistaken. Then they have 1 victory, and so if they win, they can also overtake East Tung. Anyway, the main point is that all these players here are just really hoping that the player from Hong Kong is going to lose their round 5 encounter against, is that against Matt? I believe that is against Matt. Actually, East Tung and statmatt have not played. So there we go. So multiple people will be rooting against Matt, I presume he himself, in his attempt to secure another number 1 spot, and everybody else trying to pull down East Tung from their current 3rd place. So that's the situation. And we will only find out how it develops in week 5. Later today, of course, there's some other matches. I will be streaming Lord Tariklov against Siegfried in just over 4 hours, and we'll be finishing the week with Game Over versus Isloon, which has some playoff spot implications in Group B. So that is the plan. All right. Anyway, thank you, Otto, so much for joining with the detailed commentary and endurance witnessing the longest match to be ever covered on stream.
That is no problem. Thank you for having me on once again.
And thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you soon.